Hello, I'm Conrad Bain. Tonight on Different Strokes, we're starting a special two-part show on a very sensitive and important subject. Now, we urge families, children, and parents alike to watch both of these informative episodes and then to discuss the problem presented, which is of deep concern to all of us.
Well, welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, the Junkman, coming back at you with a whole new video. What are we going to talk about today? Well, you already know. You saw the thumbnail, you saw the title, you saw the opening and everything. We're going to talk about those special episodes of television shows of the 80s. Like I said, it seems like every season, or at least one during one time, they have to do a special episode. Either it's about alcoholism or about doing drugs or drunk driving, whatever the topic is, they're going to touch on it. Now, we're going to look at some from the 80s, but might even dig into the 70s a little bit. And if you're new here, or if you haven't seen that we got a new schedule, I just want you to let you know, 11 a.m., a live stream called Pop Culture in the Morning, Monday through Friday, where we just tell you about we give you the news, action figure news, movie news, and then we do a topic and kind of talk about it with you guys. It's an interactive live stream, a lot of fun. And then at 5 o'clock daily, more unless I get lazy, a new video. That's just the daily video, something like this one right here. And then again, 7 p.m. live with a different topic each day. Monday, Star Wars. Tuesday's Toy Talk. Wednesday is Indiana Jones Talk. Thursday is, what is Thursday? Shit. Oh, Star Trek. We're going to talk Star Trek on Thursday. And Friday's going to be bi-weekly. I'm not really sure. Usually a free form on every other Friday where we just hang out and we just talk. So join us for that, and join the channel, That Junkman Live. After the live stream, that's where the replays will go up, and soon I'll move all live streams over to that channel. You're tired of hearing about that, and you're tired of hearing about Patreon, YouTube member, and all that. Working on some exclusive things for that right there, and there will get the daily videos a little early. And of course, we got shirts you can buy. Oh my God, Junkman, you've talked for about 20 minutes about this bull crap. Let's get on with it. Let's talk about those special shows from the 80s. You know what I hated about these special episodes is back in the 80s when we watched TVs, it was a family affair. No, not the television show, although there was a television show called Family Affair, and I'm sure they did a special episode about adoption or something, but we're not going to talk about that. It was you sat around the TV, especially when you were a kid, before you were a teenager going out on your own adventures. You would sit there with your family and you would laugh at Different Strokes, or you would laugh at Silver Spoons or Facts of Life with your family. And then that special episode came on. It made everybody in the room feel uncomfortable. I know it's supposed to open discussion, like you would see that episode and you were all sit around and talk about what that episode meant to you, what you learned from it. Nobody did that. You just sat there uncomfortable. When Tom Hanks was on Family Ties slapping around Alex P. Keaton, you were just like... And nobody wanted to mention that Tom Hanks was kind of acting like, your uncle that comes over at Christmas time. So it was very uncomfortable. One of the most uncomfortable was the 70s, and that's when we watched All in the Family. And Edith Bunker, Archie's wife, Edith, almost got raped. Now that is uncomfortable business right there. I mean, it's bad enough if Sally Struthers would have got a rape, but it probably would have been a little less creepy. Again, it's creepy when somebody gets raped, but a little less creepier than somebody that wanted to rape Edith Bunker. Now, I'll pull some of these clips so you can be uncomfortable also. I'm going to have to limit them so I won't lose my ad space, but check this out.
So just relax, okay?
Oh, listen, I gotta get out of here. See, I gotta get ready for my birthday party.
Happy birthday.
I couldn't even watch the clip. Luckily, Edith didn't get raped, but we did learn a lesson. You don't let a stranger come in to use your house phone. Although that lesson doesn't really matter because no one has a house phone anymore. Landline, as some people call it. Now everybody's got their phone in their pocket or on their hip. And no, I don't have a phone protector. I don't have a phone case. Ugh, phone case. What's wrong with people? Yeah, but we learned, don't let strangers in your house or they might try to rape your grandmother. And of course, probably one of the most famous special episodes was in the 80s, and we all know this one. You know I'm going to have to talk about this one. Different Strokes. This is where Arnold and his friend Dudley hang out in a bicycle shop where they get slowly groomed and molested by the bike shop owner. I call him Mr. Carson because that's who he played on WKRP. I don't know what his name when he was being a pervert on Different Strokes, but from what I remember, Arnold got away, but I think he did get to diddle Dudley a little bit. Diddling Dudley. That should have been the name of the episode. Diddle Dudley.
Here they are right here. Here we are down at the old water hole.
Hey, you don't have any clothes on either.
You don't think I'm going to let them kids have all the fun, do you?
So we all know about that famous episode for sure. What uncomfortable, man. Made me never want to ride a bicycle or at least go into a bicycle shop again. But I never really saw a bicycle shop when I was a kid. Let's go back to the 70s and talk about one of the spin-offs from All in the Family, Mauled. Can you believe Mauled? Yeah, Mauled was always trying to send a message, or, she was very liberal. In one episode, Mauled, she looked like she was about 50, 60 years old, and she wanted to get an abortion. Yeah, Mauled got knocked up. Now, I couldn't find a clip of that, so we're just going to have to go with this clip here, this very special episode, when Mauled tried to teach us about homosexuals, how they're just like us, like they're like everyone else. Check it out.
What's wrong with my views on gay people? Do you approve of homosexuals?
Arthur, it doesn't matter whether I approve or I disapprove. They are human beings. They exist. It's like asking me if I approve of dwarfs.
Well, that's different. There's no such thing as gay dwarfs.
And probably one of the weirdest special episodes was Mr. Belvedere, when the little kid's friend found out he had AIDS. Now, this was the mid or late 80s, when AIDS were a big topic, so they wanted to do a special episode and talk about AIDS. And they had this kid with AIDS, but it's just funny because the kid comes in this clip we're going to look at, and he's like, they're like, how are you? And he's like, well, I'm good, but I have AIDS, but other than that, I'm doing just fine. And they add a laugh track to it. It's the most oddest, in the kid's face. Just check the clip out.
Hi, Mrs. Ons, Mr. Ons.
Hiya, champ. How's it going?
Well, I got AIDS, but other than that, I'm doing pretty good.
See what I mean? That is just weird, man. Now, let's look into the 90s, and this is a special episode. We all know this one also. This is probably another one of the most famous special episodes, and we're going to look at Saved by the Bell. Jesse gets hooked on caffeine pills. Ooh, caffeine pills. You could tell they wanted to do a drug episode, but they didn't want to tackle anything too hard and upset the parents and get people writing letters to NBC. So they just made it caffeine pills while having her hooked on meth or something. But it led to the very famous scene of her breaking down and singing, I'm so excited, I just can't hide it. You remember that scene.
I'm so excited! I'm so scared!
Jesse.
Now this one here, I was like, is this a special episode? They do seem like they're trying to send us a message, but it didn't have as much of a special episode feel to it. We're talking What's Happening. You remember when What's Happening, very famous episode where Rerun was talked into taking a huge tape recorder, putting it under his trench coat or something, and going to see the Doobie Brothers so he can make a bootleg copy. It's an episode where we learn you don't supposed to make bootleg copies of concerts. But it just left me scratching my head. Why would these two inner city young black youths go see the Doobie Brothers? It just didn't seem like something they would be into. I mean, you think they would have went to see Kool and the Gang or Grandmaster Flash or something. But maybe I'm just stereotyping. Maybe they love the Doobie Brothers. And I shouldn't stereotype anyone. But the lesson here, Rerun went to the concert, and he was having such a good time, the Doobie Brothers started singing, he couldn't help it. He jumped up, started dancing, and that big, huge tape recorder fell out. But it did get him backstage to see the game. So, I'm not sure what the message is. The message was to don't record concerts, but if you do, and you get caught, you get to go backstage and hang out with the Doobie Brothers. So, it was a win-win. I don't understand. I mean, it seemed like it would make people want to go record the concert, so hey, maybe they can get backstage and hang out with the crew. Here it is. And then, of course, we had Good Times. Good Times every once in a while would do a message. And then they had the father die on a very classic episode. Damn, damn, damn. We all know that episode, don't we? When Esther Rolls finds out that the husband on the show died and she just can't take it. She gets that phone call and screams, damn. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the time JJ got VD. That's right, he had to hop on a subway car and go right over there with Jay Leno to the doctor, but we got a very special message in that episode where the doctor lets JJ know he was very brave to come to see the doctor at the free clinic, because most people, especially young men, when they get a VD, they don't reach out, they don't say anything, they try to take care of it themselves at home, hope the problem will go away. But not JJ. He did the right thing, went to see a doctor.
Oh, you'd be surprised how few people who suspect they have VD will even seek treatment. And VD is the biggest problem with kids around your age.
But I thought it was an older person's disease.
Oh, no, not at all. The next biggest group to get it are kids younger than you.
Now, one of the most wholesome shows of the 80s had to be Punky Brewster. Although I don't know why she lived with this old man. If I remember the pilot episode right, he kidnapped her or something when she was younger. And then over time, it was like a Patty Hearst show where she accepted a kidnapper and they all lived happily ever after. I think that was the plot. I'm not really sure. But they did a very special episode back when the Challenger exploded. Most of us that grew up in the 80s can remember where we were when NASA's space shuttle exploded. Most of us was watching it on television at school because it was a historical moment. It had a teacher going up in space. Punky Brewster watched it at school also, and it traumatized her, and she just didn't know how to deal with it.
We were watching the space shuttle take off, and
Yes?
it exploded.
But let's look at something. You know, they don't really do much special episodes nowadays, but they should really do them. Maybe that's the problem with the world today. Kids aren't seeing special episodes. But every once in a while, a new show will throw in a special episode. But they really don't advertise it as special episodes anymore. They just kind of throw it into a scene to make you kind of say, maybe I shouldn't do drugs. Maybe I shouldn't drink. Stuff like that. And the most recent I could think of was an episode of the Action Figure Show where Alien Todd tries to get Larry the Wampa to do some drugs. Check it out.
Whew, gotta get this editing done, I tell you. The Junkman messes up a lot. I gotta get this Action Figure Show edited and up online.
How's it going, Larry?
Oh, hey, Alien Todd.
You on a deadline?
Yeah, I'm on a deadline, you could say. I gotta get all this edited up within 3 hours.
Well, I got something to make you get that 3-hour work done in about 30 minutes.
Is that drugs?
Drugs? Nah, man, this ain't drugs. This is angel dust.
No, I'm not doing any drugs. Nancy Reagan told me just say no.
Oh, man, fuck Nancy Reagan. Like she ain't never got a bump of the dust.
No, thank you. I don't need anything like that.
Are you sure? It'll make your booty hole hot.
Look, no means no. I don't want that.
Whatever, that just means more for me. Check it later. I want to vote Geisa Chewbacca about something from me.
Proud of you, Larry. Proud of you. What about Family Ties? I talked about it earlier where Tom Hanks came onto the show. He was an alcoholic and he just couldn't control himself. He would get so upset that he actually bitch slapped Alex P. Keaton, knocked him to the floor. Crazy episode. Tom Hanks as a drunk, it's disturbing to watch, but in a way it's kind of funny also.
Hey, give me those.
Leave me alone.
Give me those.
Leave me alone!
What the hell are you doing?
I don't know. I'm sorry. Sorry, Alex.
Now, I could have went with another episode of Family Ties. That's when the co-worker of the dad on the show, they called him Uncle, but he wasn't an uncle, he just worked with their dad. He hit on 14-year-old Mallory. Now, as a kid growing up, I would have said, hey, it's Mallory. I had a crush in the 80s on Mallory, but then again, I was about her age or maybe a little younger, so it wasn't creepy for me. But it seems that the dad's friend gave her a hug, patted her on the butt, and probably some other things, and Mallory wasn't going to go for that.
He hugged me real tight.
He's a warm person.
And then he patted me on the behind.
It doesn't mean anything. Ball players do it all the time.
I'd understand if I just hit a home run.
He thinks you're cute, that's all.
Now, there was one show in the 80s I could just never really get into, and of course that was Blossom. But I think every episode was a special episode. I think I remember they touched on periods and they touched on drugs and marijuana. I think every episode of Blossom was a special episode, so I couldn't just pick out one. And what about Full House? I know a lot of people love Full House. I guess I was too old when it came out because I really hated Full House. I hated that whole Friday night lineup they used to do with Full House, Family Matters, all that cheesy stuff. That stuff that was so sweet, it would give you a cavity if you watched it. So I don't really remember if Full House did a special episode. The only one I can remember that was kind of a special episode was that time Aunt Becky, she helped her kids cheat so they could get into college, and I think she learned her lesson on that one, went to prison or something. Didn't see that episode, but I remember hearing a lot about it. What else we're going to talk? Oh, what about Webster? Little Webster. What could Webster do wrong? He was so cute and colorful. He couldn't do anything. Oh yeah, that's right. He burnt down the apartment building they lived in. Ruined everyone's life. Damn Webster.
I guess we lost everything.
Can you believe it? Even Alf had to have a special episode. This is when Alf dated a blind woman. You know, he couldn't really go out of the house. He couldn't really meet people, so he figured a loophole. He would date a black woman. He dated a blind woman. I don't understand how that would work. You know, I'm sure she would touch his face and, hey, why does this guy's face feel like a dick? But I don't know. I don't know if they made love or anything or how far their relationship went. But Alf dated a blind woman.
I'm short.
I'm blind.
You win.
But how about some music?
Oh, the stereo's to your right.
Thanks. If you hadn't said anything, I might have played the lamp.
Now let's look at one more. Like I said, probably could go on all day about this. Maybe I can do a part 2. Every show did a special episode, and not just sitcoms, even some of the dramas did. But what about Growing Pains? Remember that time Kirk Cameron was offered cocaine instead of offering the love of Jesus? Yeah, I think you remember that.
And one last thing. I'm not being paid to say this. This is how I feel. And if you think that makes me uncool, then you're wrong.
Oh, Kirk Cameron, here to save our souls. I could have talked about that time that Matthew Perry showed up on Growing Pains and was a drunk driver, got into a wreck, and even killed himself. He died on the episode. And that's when we all learn a valuable lesson thanks to Growing Pains. Sometimes life doesn't give you a second chance.
This isn't fair. What happened to his second chance? What happened to his second chance?
Well, that's a look at some very special episodes of shows that we grew up with. Maybe someone out there was dealing with some of these problems and didn't see the special episodes. Maybe we got some alcoholics watching the show. Maybe we got some drug addicts watching the show. Maybe we got some blind people watching. I guess you don't have any blind people. Maybe we got some blind people listening to the show. Not sure if they're dating aliens. But I hope wherever you decide to get help at, you can still watch the channel. You can still comment below. And you can still subscribe to the channel. You can still thumb it up. And we can still talk again soon.
Junkman.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.